No. Hey, howdy, hey, Excelsior Marvel fans and godlike DC fans, or if you're a fan of both, I guess, Wolfman47 Dash here. So, in the wake of the new DC universe, cinematic universe created by James Gunn, I thought it would be a good time to take a look back at both how far the MCU has gone and also the DC extended universe as well, just to sort of compare the two and see which one is better over the other. Obviously, we know that the DC extended universe is well and truly over, whereas the MCU is still, which is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is still going. So, first of all, a bit of background. So, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the idea came about after Kevin Feige and Stan Lee sat down together and discussed ideas to sort of have Marvel retrieve the rights of their characters back to the rightful owners, and as a result of this led to them pretty much fighting a lot of fights to get a lot of their characters back, and in the end, to begin with, they had access to all the Avengers characters with the exception of the Hulk, who was owned by Universal at the time. So in order to have Hulk be part of their franchise, Universal were allowed to create their own solo Hulk film, but to this day they still hold right to first refusal for some bizarre reason. But nevertheless, this has not stopped Marvel, as it means that they can still include Hulk in the big team up films, as well as anything that's not directly to do with the Hulk and just the Hulk. So we got Phase 1 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which no one really knew was a shared universe until Robert Downey Jr.'s character as Tony Stark appeared at the end of The Incredible Hulk, and then everyone was like, oh, okay, so they're actually really doing this. This was then followed by Iron Man 2, Thor, and Captain America: The First Avenger, all of which were solo films featuring each of the individual Avengers, with Black Widow and Hawkeye being introduced within those films as well. And this eventually led into the first film, Avengers Assemble, in which the Avengers come together, and thus the cinematic universe has become a thing again, because it had been a thing previously, and everyone wanted a piece of the pie. So after the success of Avengers Assemble, Marvel went ahead with Phase 2, and in that phase they continued the adventures of Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America, while also introducing the Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man. This was followed by Phase 3, in which they continued to introduce new characters, as well as continuing the adventures of Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man, and introducing new characters such as Spider-Man, the Black Panther, Captain Marvel, and all culminating into this big major event in which the Avengers and their allies fight against Thanos, who wants to snap half the universe. And what I like about the Infinity Saga, which was what composes of the first three phases, is that they left the villain to the end. They hinted at the possibility of him being a major antagonist, but they left him having a film all about him until right at the end with the two Avengers films, which I think is a really great way to go about it, while also trying to do a bit of universe building, but not like a ridiculous amount, because a lot of cinematic universe suffer from being too much about universe building, and if they focus more on that than what the film's actually meant to be, then it just leads to a very bad film. Eventually, DC caught on their success and hired Zack Snyder to create what would become the DC extended universe. This started with the with a brand new Superman film, which was another attempt to do the origin story, albeit in a darker, more mature sort of way, in a way only Zack Snyder would be able to do. And then following that, it was then decided that they would release Batman vs Superman. Yes, they made that film knowing as the second film they could have built it up to it, had some more solo films, but no, we just had that. And if it was up to me, I would have gone for Man of Steel, then a Batman film, then another Superman film, and then Batman v Superman. Yeah, I'm fighting a throat infection while I'm doing this vlog, so apologies. So, Batman v Superman happened, and that was Zack Snyder's second film, and then following this came a few other films, one about the Suicide Squad, and then another about Wonder Woman, and this was then followed by what should have been the Justice League that we did eventually get, but ultimately it changed too much because the direction changed and everything. So we got a Justice League film that was meant to be the first of a trilogy of Justice League films, but ended up not being that at all. And then a bunch of solo films, including Aquaman, the second Wonder Woman film, a Shazam film, a Blue Beetle film, a Flash film, second Shazam film, a second Aquaman film, and another Suicide Squad film, and a mini-series and a TV series about Peacemaker, which some of those would then go on into has become its successor, the DC universe under James Gunn. But what made the DCEU really suffer was that it had a constant change of directions and none of the films really built up to anything apart from the possibility that Darkseid may be the bigger bad, but he ultimately never was the bigger bad as a result of changing directions once Zack Snyder's daughter passed away, and they decided to change things with Joss Whedon involved, and yeah, the rest is history. So yeah, now while both franchises have had some good films, not all of them have been that great. So in the case of Marvel, while the majority of the Infinity Saga films have been pretty good, there have been a few stinkers in that as well. And while we are approaching the end of the Multiverse Saga, there's been a lot more stinkers in that than there has been in the Infinity Saga, such as some poor visual effects, some predictability on what to expect, because we kind of get used to the formula of things, and it's like a formula that they're very restricted to and don't want to change, and sometimes it works and hits and other times not so much, which has led to a decline in quality. That and Disney for some reason have this thing where they like to release so many things at once and not really give enough time for each thing to flourish and so forth, which is not just affecting Marvel, but it's also affected other things as well. But Marvel has been one of the most affected, especially with their TV shows and some films. But hopefully it'll end on a happy note with the two Avengers films that are coming up, as well as a Spider-Man film as well, and also some additional TV shows on Disney Plus. Apart from that, and also the loss of Stan Lee may have been the reason why the quality has declined a lot. That's not to say all the films in the Multiverse Saga have been bad. There are some good ones there as well, like the ones that actually do explore the multiverse in a way, do actually succeeded, such as Spider-Man No Way Home, which succeeded in the nostalgia value of bringing actors from previous Spider-Man films into the film. Doctor Strange Multiverse Madness may not be the strongest when it comes to multiverse exploring films, but it did bring back a few characters from the What If series and also the X-Men films as well as introducing the possibility of the Fantastic Four, and also reintroducing the Inhumans from Marvel shows that were apparently supposed to be connected to the MCU, but ultimately drifted off and became their own thing as a result of certain situations. Then another successful film was Deadpool and Wolverine, which did explore the multiverse a little bit, but managed to maintain the sort of feel of the Deadpool and X-Men films that 20th Century Studios had been working on prior to being bought by Disney. which was a really successful film and not restricted to any rules of the MCU whatsoever, but they featured some MCU things like the TVA, and some pretty darn good things for the otherwise comedy film that it was. And then there was Fantastic Four: First Steps, which, despite not being a multiverse film, it is set on another Earth, which is interesting. And then the rest are pretty much either stinkers or work well. So Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is fine. Thor: Love and Thunder, not so much. Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania, not so much. The Marvels, I guess, can be entertaining for some, but not to many others. And a bunch of others. And then for TV shows, WandaVision works, Loki works, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Wonder Man, I've not yet seen all of it, so I wouldn't know. What If, it's interesting. Sorry, excuse me. So Marvel Cinematic Universe was good, but now it's not as good as it used to be, but hopefully one day it'll get better again. And the DC Extended Universe, well, it didn't start off well, so the first 3 films of it, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice and Suicide Squad, were overall not very good films, but no one could really say that they were terrible films, because they all had some good elements to them, despite not being the sort of build up to a cinematic universe that people hoped for. Wonder Woman, during that period of time where Zack Snyder was in control, was the best one of those films. And then Justice League came along and kind of brought it downhill again. And then successes like Aquaman and Shazam kind of brought it back up again with the success that they had. and then a mixed bag when it came to the rest of the film. So Wonder Woman, the second Wonder Woman film, no. The second Shazam film was okay. The Blue Beetle film was okay. The Suicide Squad was good. Peacemaker was good. The Flash suffered with bad CGI and just overall poor storytelling and acting. And the second Aquaman film, despite having the same cast and crew, had suffered with some poor storytelling, and the fact that they continued to include Amber Heard even after the sort of allegations and trials and so forth that happened prior to that. So yeah, both franchises have hit pretty hard lately. DCEU is very much well and truly ended, with its constant change of directions, people coming back and forth, and also some people feeling that they've been mistreated by the people in charge of the films, which has led to its downfall. Whereas with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it had a really strong first saga, possibly because there was some sort of guidance and influence by Stan Lee, who was alive for almost the entirety of that saga. And then the multiverse saga suffers with people being too familiar with the formula, and the films that should have been good ended up not being as good. But I can't exactly go as far as to say that everything in it was bad, because the ones that really succeeded, as I said, are the ones that actually are about the multiverse or delve into the multiverse in some shape or form. With some exceptions like Fantastic Four: First Steps, which is in its own universe, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, because it was James Gunn's final film with the Guardians, and he knows how to make a good film. So yeah. Then I don't really think there's much in a way of which one is better or which one's worse, because they both been hit through pretty hard times. No matter what people say, some films were great, some films were not so great, some TV shows were great, some TV shows were not so great. There isn't so much in the way of video games when it comes to these two big cinematic universes. But they are what they are. If you like them, you like them. If you hate them, you hate them. At the end of the day, they're all superhero films, and they're all an attempt by their respective companies to try and create a rich cinematic universe in an attempt to a rich shared universe in an attempt to give people nostalgia, make some money, and just get people getting into those seats in a cinema watching these films. So yeah. And for what it's worth, I am looking forward to seeing where the DCU will go now that Warner Brothers might possibly be bought by either Netflix or Paramount or some other company if the deal falls through. And I'll be interested to see how Marvel will go about the 2 Avengers films, because the teasers for Avengers Doomsday have not really excited me into seeing it, but you know, I could be wrong. It could be a really good film, but it may also be a very bad film, and maybe the final nail in the coffin for the MCU as it is. So yeah, but yeah, it is what it is. Drink break. So yeah, that's what I've got to say about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that's what I've got to say about the DC Extended Universe. If you've got your own opinions about them, fire off in the comments. Let me know what you think about them, what you like, what you don't like, which one is better, because personally I don't see them being as either better or as worse as each other, because they have hit some hard times, and they have had some great films but also not some great films. So yeah, but other than that, thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you can, please. If you're new to the channel, I do vlogs like this every Thursday. I also do gaming videos, so a gameplay series video Monday and Tuesday, where I'm just like, where it's part of a series of videos for a long game, and alternating between 4 different games at the moment. Every Wednesday I do a let's play of a completely random game. Requests are welcome. And the rest of the week I do reviews, hauls, rants on live, videos with friends, gameplay compilations, shorts, and loads more. All of them requests are welcome, so please do let me know what you want to see from me. So yeah, see you in the next one. Peace to you all, and remember, not everything is marvellous, not everything can be detected by comics. Sorry, that's a poor way to bring DC into mix. But yeah, you can't expect everything to be great in these cinematic universes. Some things can be great, some things cannot be as great. But at the end of the day, it's all a learning curve for the future. So yeah, right. Toodles.